Should also pull up my notes. Jesus.
Notes. We don't need that shit. Fuck it.
I had a bunch of like extra time while you were finishing that magic match, and I could have pulled my notes up then, but no. Instead, after getting out of House Flipper, I went back to editing. So,
I mean, could be worse. You could be like me getting dumpstered in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, that is pretty bad. God, Brian.
I'm so bad at Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Gay Space Rocks, a Steven Universe watching podcast where we watch Steven Universe. I am your host, Brian. You can find me on the internet, specifically Twitter, at RoomWarePod, and you can find this podcast on Twitter at Gay Space Pod. With me, as always, is my illustrious co-host, August.
Oh, I'm illustrious now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm August. You can find me on Twitter at Harpydora. And my pronouns are they, them.
I feel like it helps to not backhandedly call all of our guests bad.
Your second best co-host.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's been a pretty solid 2 weeks. As you can hear, we don't have a guest. We keep screwing up our schedule.
Yeah. I mean, that's on me this time around, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna reschedule with them. It'll probably be after the first of the year, just because we've got a lot of heavy episodes coming up that we kind of want it to be just me and August doing the do. Though after next episode, we will have another guest on. Our guest will be Pangea Planet in 2 episodes from now. We're part of the Crystal Vims thing. There are people that we seem to be tapping into. Gay Space Rocks, a Steven Universe rewatching podcast who exclusively has on drag queens as guests, I guess, is our brand. Let's see. Oh, were they Jasper? Nice. Anyways, I was looking at their Twitter.
I mean, if they're Jasper, you've got to send me that Twitter.
It's like a half painted picture of Jasper. It's not the full costume.
Oh well.
Let's see if I can find the full costume. I may also be wrong about it being Jasper, but it looks Jaspery. August.
Yes.
Have you watched any cartoons?
No, the only media that I've watched recently, other than watching Raniel Taniel defeat his Nuzlocke challenge, is I made Anya watch Big Trouble in Little China, which is a movie that holds up surprisingly well, all things considered.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Did you see that video from Raniel Taniel I sent you, or I tagged you in earlier? Where he took his Twitch stream on a date.
No, I haven't watched that one yet.
It's pretty good.
We did watch the Everything is Wrestling Polygon video, and that one was really good too. So
yeah, Excalibur. I love Excalibur.
Excalibur is so fun.
How weird is it to see Excalibur wrestle?
It's pretty weird for me as someone who did not know him before he was commentating for AEW.
I never knew him before he was a commentator either. Like my introduction to PWG was well after X stopped wrestling.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah.
I've got a weird story to tell you about Excalibur after we stop recording.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good. It was a good video. I don't know if Patrick actually watches wrestling, though. I think maybe he's fascinated by wrestling.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if he's been converted to a wrestling fan.
Yeah. This strikes me as something that somebody pointed out to him, and he was like, hey, wait a minute, as opposed to something that he may have noticed on his own.
Right, he went into, like, journo mode.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is fair. It's still a very well-constructed video, I feel like.
Yeah, it was interesting to have, like, some of the historical context for what we consider the modern-day wrestling spectacle.
Mm-hmm. And I love how, even though it's probably spurred on by the fact that, like, Austin Creed is, or Xavier Woods is, like,
it feels
I guess
like
on G4 now.
It feels like his names should be reversed. It feels like Xavier Woods should be his shoot name and Austin Creed should be his wrestling name, because it's Austin Creed.
I don't think Austin... I haven't looked it up. This is me shooting from the hip, and I could look it up. I've got a computer in front of me, obviously. But I don't think Austin Creed's his name either, because he wrestled under the name Austin Creed when he was in Impact.
Oh. Well, I feel like...
I think they're both worked names.
Okay. Well, that answers that then, because Austin Creed...
He probably just started streaming under the Austin Creed name when he was in Impact and then just kept the brand.
Yeah.
Though it could be his real name. I mean, he...
Austin
at that point,
Watson.
Yep. Yeah, both worked names.
Yeah.
Love it.
He is a year younger than me.
Doesn't that make you feel terrible about what you've accomplished with your life?
Not really. Like, you know, I'm doing okay. Like, I never wanted to be a wrestler, so I'm not particularly jealous of him.
That's fair. I found somebody I determined today was the same age as me. And
I'm upset at his Wikipedia profile picture because that man is unfairly attractive. Like, I'm not attracted to men, and that man is unfairly attractive.
Listen, all of the New Day.
It's
good
true.
Looking boys.
It's true. They're all really good looking. You've got your lanky one, you've got your built one, and then you've got your nerdy one. It's like, it's perfect.
I love that the third image, when I pull it up on Google, pull up Austin Creed on Google, is when the New Day dressed up as Saiyans for WrestleMania.
Well, this isn't on Google. This is his Wikipedia profile picture.
Oh, yeah. I just Googled him to get to the Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
And the third image is when, like, him and the New Day dressed up as Saiyans.
Nice.
For WrestleMania.
That's fantastic.
It was great, yeah.
Welcome to Gay Space Rocks, a Steven Universe podcast where we talk about wrestling.
Mm-hmm. I'm about to send you a great image.
Okay.
Prepare yourself.
Okay.
It's Austin
my
Creed dressed
God.
up as Asuka.
This is Dragon Con. He's in the fucking Marriott. That's gotta be the Marriott.
Oh,
this
he's
is like
probably
the
doing like an undercover.
Yeah.
Like one of those undercover cosplay thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if Asuka's just roaming around dressed as him somewhere?
Oh my God, that would be delightful. But no, this looks like the 10th floor of the Marriott.
Nice.
Anyway, so I feel like if you're not going to mention it, I should.
Okay.
Pour one out for DuckTales.
Oh, I was going to get to it when I got around to me. You didn't.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance yet.
Okay.
But yeah, DuckTales has been not renewed. I don't think they've been canceled because the season's going to end. They just were not renewed for a fourth season. I love how the showrunner is like, hey, thanks everybody for this hashtag Renew DuckTales thing. But we've been not renewed for a while. Like, we're done.
Yep.
He seems nonplussed about it, frankly.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to look on the bright side of this as someone who's only seen like half of season 1. It's like, you know, another show that only got 2 seasons that was fantastic and never got ruined. Gravity Falls.
True.
So, with any luck, this means that DuckTales will have had a nice little run. It won't be ruined by overstaying or by company intervention.
From what I can gather, the vast majority of the crew is moving on to the Darkwing Duck reboot. Which they've set up inside of it feels like it's going to be the one that they set up inside of the DuckTales. So it should be basically the same crew telling, same vibe, different storytelling medium, obviously, not like an adventure show, like a Darkwing. It's a Darkwing Duck show. If you don't know who Darkwing Duck is, he's like Batman, but he's a fucking duck.
Yep.
Actually, he's like the Shadow, but he's a fucking duck. But we're not going to get into that.
Well, I don't know. Like when I got into like Batman the Animated Series, it's like it felt very much like it had a very similar vibe in my mind, like in the way that it tried to capture sort of the noir aspect, but in a cartoon format. So
I think they went as a person who was a weird little fucking nerdo as a child who read like the Shadow and the Phantom comics. It cribs a lot more from like that like pulp vigilante superhero vibe than Batman the Animated Series did. Batman the Animated Series was straight up kind of like a noir superhero show. Darkwing Duck is kind of like lovingly poking at things like the Phantom or the original Sandman, the one with the gun that made people go sleep.
Oh, God. So, speaking of the Phantom, do you remember that terrible cartoon Phantom 2040?
I thought you were going to talk about the movie with Billy Zane. I was so excited for a second, August.
I completely forgot about that movie, and honestly, like, that movie was fun. I liked that movie. It's just, I haven't thought about the Phantom in so long, I'd forgotten about it.
You remember the weird knife?
No.
With the faces?
Oh!
Knife with the face?
Yes. Oh my God.
My dad owned a prop version of that.
Oh my God.
But I do also remember Phantom 2049.
Yeah. I remember enjoying that show a lot, but in hindsight, it's just like, I bet this did not age well.
I'll let you in on a secret. Every Fox Kids cartoon did not age well.
I don't know.
X-Men the Animated Series, so hard to watch because they animate every 60th frame.
I'm not talking about the animation. Like X-Men the Animated Series, like a lot of the storylines and stuff still hold up, even if you just have to like turn away from the TV but listen to the plot. It still holds up really well.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to be perfectly honest, if I'm going to watch an almost still medium, I'm just going to go read the comic books they pulled those exact storylines from.
That's fair.
Spider-Man the Animated Series holds up a little bit better. It feels like it's better animated. But also I feel like Phantom 2049 came out when they were doing like the second wave of Fox Kids animation shows. So it's the one that had like, it came in the wave that had like the Spider-Man Beyond or fucking whatever, the one where he goes to space, shit like that. You know the one where he goes to the other Earth, the Earth that's on the other side of the sun, where there's all the furries.
I feel like I would remember that if I had seen it. At any rate.
Hi, welcome to Gay Space Rocks, a Steven Universe podcast where we talk about cartoons that aren't Steven Universe.
No, that's Equestria Gaze. Anyway.
But yeah, pour one out for New DuckTales. New DuckTales is good. I feel like they're gonna have a chance to wrap it up, tell a good like finale. I've been honestly really enjoying season 3, particularly for like ancillary characters like Della Duck. Because like it's now that she's like, they've done the whole like harrowing rescue from the moon or whatever and dealing with that. She's kind of around as like the kid's mom, and her just trying to like do mom stuff is pretty fun to watch in the background. Like recently there was an episode where like the kids were out with Scrooge. They failed to get the thing they wanted to. They were demoralized. Scrooge was like blinders on, thinking about getting the object. and he talks about getting a new team, which makes the kids all sad. And Della's like, I've got to make my kids confident in themselves again. And then literal Greek gods show up to the house, and they're like, we need to pick a new god, Della. And she's like, look at my kids. And they're like, they're children. She's like, no, they're great. She's like, big ups her kids the whole time to like build their confidence again. Until finally she's like yelling at Scrooge, like, stop being mean to my children.
Jesus Christ.
So, all right. Well, I feel like we probably need to move on to our actual episode 20 minutes into the recording.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, cartoons. It's a cartoon. I'm going to count it. It's about cartoons, sort of. Everybody should go. This is going to come out late enough that I'm not going to need to spoiler. Also, there's like 6 people who listen to this show. Shout out to all 6 people who listen to the show. But Austin Walker of Friends at the Table / Waypoint fame is going to be joining probably the most influential on this podcast, the Great Gundam Project, for their next season, which is going to be for Gundam X, which is a Gundam I've never watched before. I bet it sucks because I don't know much about it, and that usually does not bode well for Gundam.
If only they hadn't taken down Yahoo Anime.
Listen, I know how to get entirely legal anime all the time, wherever I want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the best dollar you're gonna spend. It's a really good discussion podcast, kind of like this, but like Em and Jackson are a little bit more knowledgeable about things.
Well put together.
Yeah.
Like, I love us, but we're hot messes, Brian.
We are, yeah. That's the vibe we bring. They're less of a hot mess than us. They have some really good interactions because Em and Jackson really approach things from like different perspectives. They're also dealing with headier material than we are. Because like Gundam shows unsurprisingly get mad into like politics and philosophy and shit like that. So there's more not academic, but kind of like less pathos driven sort of like analysis than what we do. Steven Universe is definitely a show about feelings, and Tomino doesn't know what a feeling is at all. So but yeah, go listen to Great Gundam Project. I'm pretty sure next season's gonna slap like a motherfucker. Oh, also their backup show is gonna be Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex second gig, so that sounds pretty fun too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Should tell my friend Damien.
Hell yeah. When they did Gundam, I think when they did G Gundam, they watched, was it Pat Labor? Or I can't remember which one they watched Standalone Complex, the first one with, but I'm pretty sure it was one of the like less interesting Gundams because they were like, we just need something good, please. But it was like, man, Standalone Complex is a good ass show. Anyways.
We've still got to talk about Steven Universe though, and this is going to be a long one.
Okay, so this week we are covering episodes 34, 35, and 36, Watermelon Steven, Lion 3 Straight to Video, and Warp Tour. First up, we have episode 34, Watermelon Steven. This one was written by Joe Abrams and storyboarded by Helen Joe. Apparently doing some reading, they tried to keep like writers and storyboarders kind of in little pairs, so they would kind of develop like a style between them, so they would get familiar, I guess, with each other. Mm-hmm. So that was an interesting thing I learned. Official synopsis. Steven discovers a new power when he grows a patch of Steven-shaped watermelons. Okay, yeah. All right, that's fair. Steven and his dad, Greg, are eating watermelons near Greg's car wash. They're not near, they're in front of Greg's car wash. And it says here the afternoon, but it's obviously like the evening in that shot. I don't know what the fuck this thing is talking about. They are having competition to see who can spit out seeds the air quote coolest. Steven kind of starting this with, or who started the spitting contest?
I think it was Steven. Yeah.
Yeah. Steven spits up a seed on his cheek and makes an Amadeus reference that I don't 100% get. This escalates until Steven uses his spinning seed attack to basically cover the entire scene in watermelon seeds. Greg declares him the winner, makes him a little watermelon crown, and then the pair of them promptly, I guess, pass out till the morning. Steven wakes up to find that the entire car wash is covered in watermelons. And not just watermelons, but watermelons shaped like Steven. The gyms show up and they're like, oh, well, this actually kind of makes sense because your mom had the power to, like, grow plants, as we've seen with the horrible moss that eats people. But apparently her plants are sentient, Steven's are not. They're like, what are we going to do with all these watermelons? And Steven's like, and immediately puts on a little outfit because this is how Steven Universe solves his problems. Mm-hmm. And he sets up a little farm stand near to Funland. Mr. Smiley comes up. He's like, hey, you got a permit for this, kid? And Steven's like, bribe? And he's like, all right, I'll take this watermelon bribe. Then Sadie shows up, and they have a little interaction talking about the watermelons. Then Ronaldo shows up and he starts he's posting about the watermelons on his blog. Sadie gets kind of impatient, waiting on Ronaldo, and is like, listen, Steven, I'm just going to give you $5 for this watermelon. I'm going to peace out. And Ronaldo's like, oh my God, these watermelons are only $5. And he says to everybody, hey, everybody, these watermelons are only $5. And, then everybody comes and buys all the watermelons. Steven is left with a pile of cash at the end and just one watermelon, the littlest watermelon, Baby Melon. Sitting there with Baby Melon counting the money, Onion comes up and is like, doesn't say anything. I don't know why I was about to vocalize Onion because he doesn't say fuck or all. He points at Steven. Steven's like, you want my money? And what? Onion has to consider this for a moment. He's like, no, I want the watermelon. He's like, oh, you can't have the watermelon. It's not for sale. And Onion's like, oh, that's reasonable. And then steals the fucking watermelon because Onion's a fucking menace. While chasing down Onion to recover Baby Melon springs to life, jumps out of Onion's arms, and comes and hugs Steven. Steven comes to the realization that if Baby Melon's alive, then all the watermelons are alive. And Steven goes on an adventure to try and reclaim all of the watermelons. He gets all of them but one. It's the one that Ronaldo purchased. He is about to, on Weird Star. He is about to post a video of him live dissecting the watermelon, alien autopsy style. Steven's like, give me the fucking watermelon. He reaches for it, and Ronaldo bops him with a spatula. The watermelons all begin to react. Basically, just beating the shit out of Ronaldo. Steven runs back to the temple, slams in, tells the gems, hey, the watermelons have come alive. They walk outside to find an army of watermelon Stevens. They're like, Steven, go back inside. And when they push him back inside the house, the watermelons all react. The gems and the watermelons start fighting. The battle rages. Steven is very upset with this because he doesn't want the watermelons to get hurt, but he also doesn't want the gems to get hurt. And also they're losing the fight to the watermelons pretty severely. Steven finally comes down. He's trying to get them to stop. And he's like, what are we going to do, Baby Melon? And Baby Melon contemplates for a moment. And then in a slow motion punch, hits Steven right in the stomach. This triggers all the other watermelons. They pile on Baby Melon. And he is destroyed. Steven is distraught about this. Talking about the sacrifice that Baby Melon has made for him and for everybody. And he orders the watermelon Stevens to go away, to think about what they did, and not return until they understand what Baby Melon did. They all walk off into the ocean except for one that gets eaten by a seagull. The gems come up, and they place their hands on Steven. They say, you spoken like a true king, says Garnet. And Steven's like, they have no king. They're their own melons now. And right before we star wipe the end, Steven takes a bite of Baby Melon, and the gems are horrified. Star wipe the end.
So, we're never gonna reckon with any of this, are we?
We do! multiple times.
Okay, which part? The fact that the ocean is full of watermelons that are sentient, or the fact that the gems have, like, demonstrably murdered living things? And also, so has Greg. Greg committed melon slaughter here.
In Greg's defense, he didn't know that yet.
That's why it's manslaughter, or I mean melon slaughter, not murder.
Well, okay, so the gems, I don't think they're too plossed about it. They fought a war. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can get away with that because it's off camera and stuff like that. But, like, they have demonstrably murdered sentient creatures now.
We do not reckon with the fact that the gems are melon murderers.
Okay.
But we do revisit, I think, at least twice or three times the watermelon Stevens and see how they progress in their evolution.
Okay, we'll just file that part away with the part where Sadie also murdered somebody and call that a day, I guess.
Well, she poofed somebody. It wasn't full-on murder. They're still alive.
Yeah.
I mean, Sadie doesn't know that.
Yeah,
she doesn't
know that. Sadie thinks she killed someone or something.
But yeah, we do come back to the watermelon Stevens at least twice. The first time is actually going to be next season, about halfway through next season.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's really fun when we come back to the watermelon Stevens.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Do
you understand this Amadeus reference? It's my first note.
I do not, but I've also never seen Amadeus.
Me either.
So, my first note was that it's always nice to see Steven and Greg having cute interactions. Like, I still like in the wake of House Guest when Steven and Greg have normal dad-son things.
Interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this one little shot that I took a note of where, like, Steven jumps up. I think it's after he spits the seed that kills the can.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, raises his hands and his, like, little belly pokes out. I thought that was cute.
It's very cute. Steven, my next note was Steven is best boy, and it was specifically about, like, how cute it was when he was being crowned, but it just applies in general.
I do have one more note before the crowning is applied.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna hate me.
I probably am.
Yeah. My note specifically says, I feel like Greg's trick shot has some implications about other talents that Greg has.
Brian, why? Why, Brian? Brian, you're fired. This podcast is over. That's it. We're done here. We can go no lower than autofellatio jokes, so...
We've hit the bottom. It's only up from here. Can't wait to get that Omaha Steaks sponsorship. The crown is very cute and the grossest thing I can comprehend.
Oh, yeah, because my very next note was gross.
It's true. Initially, I was like, it's real weird that they just sleep outside. And I'm like, oh, they, like, live near the beach. It's probably actually very nice outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, probably... Because I think, when it says in that summary that it was the afternoon, that's not... I don't think the lighting suggests that it's the afternoon at all.
No, I thought it was, like, right around sunset-ish.
Yeah, like, the vibe it's giving me is, like, that summer, like, sunsets around, like, 8:39 or something like that, you know?
Yeah, and, like, you know, it seemed like an after-dinner thing, like they were just sharing a watermelon for dessert. Like, I'm probably reading a bunch into it, but that was just the vibe I got, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they do a lot of, like, visual shorthand in this show, so I don't think it's reading too much into it. Because, like, that also implies that that's a reason why Steven falls asleep real quickly, afterwards, and probably he fell asleep and Greg's like, well, it's not going to rain. He's fine, Steven's a kid who's probably slept outside before,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, Greg's not going to let anything happen to him, I don't feel like. So.
No.
All the watermelon Stevens appearing. So, I imagine it's not hard to figure out where this episode's going to go.
Yeah.
But what was your reaction to the watermelon Stevens?
Oh,
you cut out.
It was just, followed by, oh no, the watermelon in all caps when Greg stepped on one and crushed it graphically. Like, that gets completely recontextualized when the watermelons start being animate and appearing to think.
I do wonder if they were animate. Like, I wonder if the removal from the vine process is what wakes them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
we get some more animated plant life created by Steven later on.
That's interesting. Because that is another one of those things that I'm curious about, whether the show reckons with the fact that, oh, hey, Steven can just create sentient life. We're never going to talk about that again, are we? Huh? But no, it sounds like we do.
Yeah. Specifically, there's 2 more sentient life, plant creature people that Steven creates.
Okay.
At different points during the show. So, it is not a power that is forgotten about.
Cool.
Though he does stop doing it for obvious reasons. He's not willy-nilly about it. I like the little farmer stand. It just seems very on brand for Steven to put on a silly costume to solve this problem.
It's very cute. It kind of gives me little Harvest Moon vibes because we already know Steven plays like a Super NES or something like that, and Harvest Moon was on the Super NES, and it's very cute, and it seems like that would be a great direction for him to go. But yeah, he's just doing this because he saw it on TV or something or in a video game. Like,
oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, exactly. On a scale of 1 to 10, how cute is Sadie's dress?
11.
I put in my notes, Sadie's dress, it's so cute.
It's so cute. Like, Sadie's just cute. I love seeing her around, and I like seeing her, casual,
Did you notice they keep the scar on her cheek from the island adventure? Yeah.
Yes, I did notice that. At first, when I first saw it, it's like, is that just a piece of fuzz on the screen or something? And then Sadie moved and the scar moved with it, and it's like, oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
I like how the things progress in this show.
Yeah, character designs change. Although we already knew that with Pearl getting poofed and her character design changing. So
mm-hmm. That usually happens with the gems when they poof. So, I should not have laughed as hard at the Ronaldo typing joke as I did, but it fucking killed me, and I don't know. I watched this episode 3 times, and I laughed 3 times.
Ugh, Aranon.
Aranon, our new nickname for Ronaldo.
Unfortunately, he's just never going to be able to shake that in my mind. Ugh.
Especially not this episode.
No. That isn't even the place. I literally wrote ugh Aranon. That's not the place where I would go Aranon, no.
Yeah. I don't feel is $5 really that good a price for watermelons?
I mean, if they're watermelons as big as a kid, probably.
That's true, I guess. That's fair. All right, that's a fair point.
Because, remember, these are Steven-shaped watermelons. These are watermelons as big as a child.
That's true. That's a big-ass watermelon. I bet it would taste terrible.
Oh, almost certainly.
Way too watery.
Although, when the watermelon Stevens opened their mouths, it was a very deep red, the really good shit, so...
That's true. They are magical watermelons, so.
Yeah.
Onion is a demon sent from hell.
Yeah. Onion is... Oh, well, actually,
Steven made
go back a bit.
$200.
Go back a bit, because it's like... It is interesting to me that the primary bill in Steven Universe is a $2 bill. And, you know, I think that's partly probably just because, you know, to make it obvious that this is not our world. These are not our dollar bills. But it's also just interesting because... you know, gayer than a $2 bill, and they're all $2 bills. So Beach City, everyone is gay, confirmed.
I thought the euphemism was, or the saying was like queer than a $3 bill.
I'd always heard $2 bills.
Oh, might be different.
Yeah, it could just vary depending on where you are. Anyway. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's a nice little bit of, like you were saying, visual shorthand that just, you know, immediately, if you notice it, immediately tells you something about what you're looking at.
Right. And also, Steven made $200 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Good job,
Wait,
buddy.
How many, that's like 40 Watermelon Stevens.
There's way more Watermelon Stevens.
Well, maybe they procreate, but $200, you know, $5 per.
I will let you in on a secret. They do.
Oh boy. Oh boy. But yeah, there's 40 Watermelon Stevens as of that particular market stall. So. But yeah, Onion is a demon.
Sent from hell. I like how I love the little pause they put in there of Onion being like, "Wait, do I want the money?
Yeah,
no, I want the watermelon."
Yeah, that was really good.
My next note is I would die for Baby Melon.
Baby Melon would never ask you to.
I know he wouldn't, but I would. I would lay down my life for Baby Melon.
Baby Melon is very good.
I love how it doesn't understand Steven at all.
Yeah.
It's so it's just really like good. This little like this build up to this part is very like the way they're gradually building this episode of like it's just real cute until it's heavy at the end is really interesting.
Yeah.
Small question: why does Mr. Smiley have a child-sized hip pouch?
You never know when you need one to eject a child from the arcade/boardwalk, I guess.
Why are you putting the bad children in a pouch, Mr. Smiley?
He's like the opposite of Santa Claus,
right? He's this fucking grim fairy tale as arcade owner
/ former R&B artist.
I assume when you typed Aranon no is about the same time I've typed in what the literal fuck of Ronaldo.
Yeah. Like, what's he even going to do with the fucking mixer anyway?
Well, I don't know. I've seen a thing where you put like a hand blender down into a watermelon. You like mix up the goop on the inside, and then you like pour booze. Like you get it to basically you juice the watermelon that way.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
I don't think that's what Ronaldo's doing because he's an idiot.
Yeah, I did greatly appreciate the fact that he was like, Steven, you have to get this on camera. Like, he doesn't give a shit about Steven stopping the watermelons. He just wants the fucking views.
I love the detail that they make sure very clearly that no one is they show you that no one is watching this stream, no one has ever watched this stream, and no one follows Ronaldo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good.
Why do the gyms read the newspaper? What the fuck?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like this could be something that like they started doing because like, the human world is becoming more relevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Steven is 100% dragging them into, like, society.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be something that they picked up because of Steven. So, Steven's like, oh, you're adults, you should read these. And so now they do, because they don't want to tell Steven any different.
Right. And also, I feel like Pearl would legitimately read the newspaper.
I feel like that she's the kind of person who would, but she has demonstrated such disdain for just, like, humanity in general that I don't think she would of her own accord.
True. Garnet doesn't technically need to.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. I have notes about that in 36, but...
Craig got kicked.
Yeah.
No, wait. No, he's still here. He says he's been disconnected, though. Weird. Anyways. So when they go out onto the porch, the watermelon army is legitimately it goes from, like, adorable to legitimately terrifying in just, like, a fucking blink of an eye.
Yeah. And, wow, the Gems sure are blasé about killing things on camera.
Yeah, they'll just murder, motherfucker.
Yeah.
The fight scene is pretty good, though. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Steven, they do great with... I like how... I think it's a subversion, the music that's going on under this. Because it's like the normal Steven Universe battle theme, but it's not supposed to be good, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a subversion. It could just be that they were like, we don't have any... we just need to put some music here.
Yeah, that's fair.
So...
it is also interesting, because you mentioned it's like, the Gems are fighting the watermelons and honestly not doing so great. I wonder if that's because, like, do the watermelons inherit Steven's super strength?
They do seem stronger than what one would assume a watermelon would be.
Yeah.
So, it could be interesting. They do seem to be. We are shown later that they're probably not as strong as Steven is. Steven's real strong. But they do seem to be stronger than you would assume they would be able to be. We get to see that next time we get to see the watermelons. The amethyst, they're gonna put me in the ground. That's such a funny fucking joke. It's so fucking funny.
It's so good.
I just love the flower. Like, I don't
the flowers.
It's just the weirdest gag just in this section. It's just like this
so
episode
good,
is just so darkly comical the whole fucking time. I really enjoy the tone.
Yeah, the tone was very good throughout. My next note is in all caps, Baby Melon, no!
All right, we've got to take a moment of silence for Baby Melon. Pour one out for Baby Melon.
Yeah.
Rip.
And I also had the note, why do babies that Steven adopts all fucking die?
Wait, what other babies has Steven adopted?
The, centipedal?
She's not dead.
Well, okay, but, like, horribly, like, physical form disintegrated saving Steven.
Okay, that's fair. It's because Steven's the special boy.
Steven Jr. got eaten by a bird. He got better.
Yeah.
But he did get eaten by a bird.
Well, I mean, so did Steven.
Yeah. It's just... If Steven adopts you, it doesn't seem really good for your health necessarily.
Lion's doing fine.
I'm not too sure what's up with Lion, but I kind of don't trust him.
No, Lion's fine. I wouldn't trust him, but he's not bad. I wouldn't trust him because he's a big cat.
That's fair.
But yeah, pour one out for our Lord and Savior, Baby Melon.
Yeah.
while this show, like, this episode is kind of, like, irreverent and funny, it really does sort of, like, keep hammering home the ideas that Steven Universe is trying to get across, that, like, de-escalation is the better course of action when it comes to, like, conflict. Like, an end through violence is, like, victories through violence or an end through violence are not things to be sought. Like, they're victories, but they're never, like, they're not celebrated, you know? The speech Steven gives is melodramatic, but, like, seems heartfelt. Like, this is, like, what Steven actually believes, you know? We will see that Baby Melon is remembered. The melons do not forget their lesson that they learned this day.
Okay. Yeah.
I do absolutely love the shot that as the melons are going into the sea, a seagull grabs one of them, and I laughed out loud.
It's good. It's good. There's some good visual stuff going on in this episode. I did note that sending them away does not seem like the best idea in the world, and I think part of that is just my reaction to in My Little Pony, a lot of problems seem to be solved by pushing them off elsewhere. Just so I've become kind of sensitive to that kind of problem solving because it inevitably in real life ends pretty poorly. But since you have said that we reckon with the existence of the Watermelon Stevens again, I feel less weird about it, since, like, there are consequences for banishing them into the sea.
They do go, basically they go off and they're going to think about the things that Steven has said. So it's gonna be. I feel like you're gonna be pretty excited when we come back to the Watermelon Stevens.
Yeah, it's nice that there are consequences for sending your problems somewhere else.
I wouldn't say there's necessarily consequences. It's not when we come back to the Watermelon Stevens. It's not necessarily they're not the Watermelon Stevens are not. They really take Steven's lesson to heart. When they go away. So otherwise it would be like I'm sending this bloodthirsty army of watermelons into the world, but yeah, like I wouldn't say there's necessarily or consequences in the, I guess, the traditional sense, but we do get to see sort of like how the Watermelon Stevens have internalized the lesson of today.
Yeah, we see the effects of what has happened.
Yes, definitely. In a very weird way, but yes, it's super fucking weird. Steven says, "No gods, no masters.
No dice, no masters, baby." Anyway,
yeah.
And I do find it kind of interesting how weirdly unaffected Steven is, but I suspect strongly that's just because we don't want the audience to necessarily see/understand how fucked up what has happened is.
Yeah. This is Samurai. This is the first episode of Samurai Jack where he kills a bunch of air quotes robots, you know? It's the animators wanting to do this really cool visceral fight scene, but it's a children's show, so they can't. So it's like, well, what's not a human?
Yeah, pretty much.
God, I love how just horrified the gems are when he takes a bite out of a baby melon.
Yes, yes, God, that was so good. But also, like, waste not, want not, I guess.
I mean, listen, he's already dead.
Yeah, what's he gonna do with that flesh?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anything else about Watermelon, Steven?
That's it.
Okay, let's move on to episode 35, Lion 3 straight to video. This one was by Joe Johnson and Jeff Liu. I believe that Liu.
I think so.
Okay. Wow! The synopsis, holy shit. The official synopsis: Lion won't stop laying on Steven's face while he sleeps. Like,
wow!
You can add a little bit more to that.
Wow.
That's not even remote. Like, Steven finds a mysterious videotape. Steven is having weird dreams, and Lion discovers.
Steven discovers a new aspect to Lion when he won't stop laying on Steven's face while he sleeps.
Boom, there you go. Jesus. Obviously, these motherfuckers ain't getting paid by the word. Holy shit.
Jesus. They must have gotten paid by the number that they produce.
Mm-hmm. Had to be. Anyways, this episode starts off with Steven looking around the Big Donut. He's having a hard time choosing what he wants to eat. Sadie is being encouraging, trying to get Steven to, like, actually, pick something. She suggests that maybe he asks Lion. Lion goes up and he's entranced by the lion liquors, mostly because probably he's like other cat. Steven admonishes him, makes sure that he knows that lion liquors are in fact gross. Sadie interjects at that point and is like, hey, you need to hurry up. Me and Lars are about to close up. Lars comes in being a little shithead, and Sadie's like, sighs heavily. Steven's like, hey, what's these brown paper bags with your name on them at the bottom of the freezer? She's like, oh, there's the lunches my mom makes me. And she kind of laments how it's childish and embarrassing that her mother still makes her lunches, which is fair. She's like 19 years old. Steven asks if he can have some. She's like, yeah, go ahead and grab some, but be careful, some of them are very old. Back at the temple, Steven starts dissecting one of these lunches, talking about the bits in it. Lion gets his nose caught in the bag. It's fucking adorable. Steven kind of goes on to lament the fact that he doesn't get this sort of thing. Like, his mom will never make him lunches, and he wonders what kind of lunches that he would make, and he just kind of like says to Lion, I wish I would know more about my mom. That night, Steven makes up a bed for Lion on the couch. Steven lays down in his own bed after kicking Lion out of the bed. A plight all pet owners can get behind.
Yep.
While he is sleeping, Steven awakes in a kind of like a pastel pink environment. It's like tall grass, kind of like an orangey pink environment. Steven's very confused about what's going on, but he realizes there's no air here. He starts choking. He's woken up by the sounds of Pearl's voice. Pearl pulls Steven out from under Lion. Steven is confused about what was happening. Pearl explains that Lion was laying on his face. Pearl explains that Lion was sleeping on Steven's face, and Steven's like, wait, what the hell are you doing here? And Pearl's like, well, I kind of, sometimes I watch you when you sleep. And Steven's like, all right, everybody get the fuck out of my room. I want to go to sleep. He shoos them all away. He goes back to sleep where he has a dream where he's playing checkers, ? With Dogcopter. Dogcopter wins in a single move, and Steven's astonished. She's like, Dogcopter, how do you do it? How are you so successful and talented? And Dogcopter gives Steven this resounding speech about staying true to himself and being who he really is on the inside. And then as he's about to fly away, he's like, also take a deep breath. And Steven finds himself waking up in that same pink environment. He realizes that it's Lion this time, and he like gets out from under him. He has a cute interaction of with Lion of being like, why are you so clingy tonight? Then Lion rolls onto his back, inviting Steven in. Everybody knows this is a trap. Steven's never owned a cat before. He gets pulled in by Lion, who kind of rustles him into his mane. Steven fights back and finally gets annoyed when Lion kind of sinks his claws into Steven's back. Fair. He takes Lion outside. He puts him outside for punishment, tells Lion to think about what he did, but as he's going back up, Lion makes sad animal noises at Steven. He crumbles fucking immediately. He goes out and he's pulled into Lion as he's hugging him, and he realizes part of Lion lights up, and he slips inside of Lion, his head popping into Lion's mane and popping out in the weird pink field. At this point, Steven realizes that, like, oh, there's a place inside of Lion's Mane. So he jumps inside of it, and he finds an island in this sea of grass. It's got one pink, kind of looking like a big pink bonsai tree.
Yeah, that's what I would classify it as too.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of stuff around it. Steven starts looking around, but he finds a videotape that says "For Steven" on it. It's a VHS tape. Steven wakes up, doesn't show it to the gyms. I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't show it to the gems. It's a kind of an interesting point. But anyways, he goes to the Big Donut because they have a VHS player. He talks to Sadie. Sadie lets him in. They watch it. It's a video from Rose and Greg made for Steven before he was born. It's one of those parent videos where you make a videotape for your kid, I guess. And Greg introduces himself. He's Mr. Universe. He plays a cool guitar solo. Rose kind of just fiddles around with the camera for a little bit, taking funny videos of Greg getting accosted by seagulls. Rose then has a conversation with Steven, kind of telling him that, like, soon she's going to give up her form and become him, and that she's going to be part of him, and that when he loves himself, that that's her loving him. Then they kind of like have this, like, Greg and Rose share a kiss at the end. The videotape runs out. Lars comes in. He's like, "Hey, we need to open up," and they're both crying. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I do not know how to process emotions. I am a teenage boy." Sadie and Steven leave the room. Steven leaves and heads back to the temple. Sadie calls her mom and tells her that it's okay to keep making the bag lunches and star wipe the end. Except there is no star wipe on this episode for some reason.
Yep, it just cuts to black.
Mm-hmm. Real weird.
Yeah.
I thought something was wrong with my feed initially.
So my first note, all caps, fire Lars.
Hashtag fire Lars.
Yeah. Does that mean release him from his employment, or does that mean set him on fire? Who can say?
Or fire him out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire him into the sun.
My actual first note is Sadie is like a really good older friend to Steven. Like, this is a very cute interaction. She's just kind of like, they're close to closing time. Seemingly no one eats the Big Donut. And she's just like letting Steven have fun, you know? She's like just vibing, you know?
I don't know. In some ways, I feel like Sadie and Amethyst are opposite ends of the older sibling spectrum in some ways. Like, Sadie's like the really loving, supportive, like, older sibling, and Amethyst is the older sibling that, like, pranks you all the time and is kind of a shithead, but still loves you.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I feel that. Like, Sadie definitely has a lot of those vibes. And it's interesting as they go on, like, seeing their relationship sort of evolve and, like, how the dynamics doesn't necessarily shift, but just kind of evolves.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, fuck Lion Liquors. Fuck 'em. Then finally I get to the same point that you start off with, which is like, good to see that Lars hasn't even once considered growing as a character.
You know what? When Anya and I were watching these episodes, Anya said something very similar.
Character growth. Yo, fuck that. Also, Sadie, it's a health code violation to keep your lunch in a commercial fridge. You cannot keep personal food in there.
You know what? They still have a scorch mark of somebody being burned in the back. I'm not sure they necessarily care about health codes here.
Well, that's a carbon print on the wall. You can't get rid of it. You can paint over it, but, you know. You can have scorch marks on the wall, but you can't have your food next to other people food you sell. I know this. This is a real thing I've had to deal with one time. Holy shit, Lion is cute as fuck in this episode.
Yes.
Just all around very cute Lion episode.
Yes, my next note was Lion's cute. Followed by Steven has the right opinion on sandwiches. Triangles are the only appropriate sandwich shape. I'm assuming we can't be friends anymore.
It's been a good run.
Fair.
But no, this is such a, like, so very sad. This show just sneaks up on you with the sad shit.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, this, like, Steven's lament about wanting to know more about Rose, about, like, oh, what kind of lunches would my mom make me if I had a mom, you know? God damn. Just fucking going right for the heart, Steven Universe. What the fuck are my notes? I hate myself sometimes. I wrote this note. This is a verbatim note from my notes to myself. Steven talks to Lion. Steven talking to Lion is me talking to the possum that lives in my yard. Blink once if you love me.
Gently blows into the eyes.
I've done that with my pets before, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god. I mean, fair. But also.
Steven being just like, it continues to, like, best boy award, just like 8 years running at this point.
Yeah. What I want to know here is, does Lion understand that Steven needs to breathe?
In Lion's
presumably,
defense, in Lion's defense, he can't go inside of his own mane, so he doesn't even know there's not air in there.
Okay, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, because, I mean, also, like, while Lion seems to be far more intelligent than your average lion would be, I don't necessarily know if he understands those sorts of nuances, because, like, Rose never had a problem going in there. Steven is sort of Rose. He should not have a problem going in there, you know? So, I don't think that... I guess to answer your question, no, I don't think Lion understands how breathing works.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that because it's like, I'm pretty sure that the gems don't need to breathe.
They do not, no.
So, like, if Lion used to be Rose's or is associated with Rose in some fashion, like, Lion may not understand that Steven, as a half-human creature, needs to consume oxygen.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that he does. Because I don't think Lion would willfully try and suffocate Steven to death.
Yeah, I would hope not.
I don't know, it's a 50-50, I think, because he's still a cat.
Yeah. That's why I said I would hope not.
I know that you think it's creepy that Pearl watches Steven sleep.
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily... I don't think it's meant to be creepy. I think it's meant to show, like, paternal feelings from Pearl. It's that same way, like, you watch somebody that you, like, you care about sleep, and you're like, oh, they're...
Okay.
Like, I find this peaceful, you know?
It's not the watching him sleep part that's necessarily creepy. It's the fact that she does it every night.
Not every night, just often. Very often.
Very extremely often. But the fact that she does it so often, like, every once in a while, yeah, that's cute. But, like, the implication is that she's lying and she does it every night. And that's what makes it creepy.
I don't think she does.
But I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, you know, obviously it's because, like, gems don't need to sleep, right? So what the fuck else is she gonna do with her time?
Right, we find out that the only gem who sleeps is Amethyst.
Yeah. Because she likes it.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, probably what it is that, like, that sort of, like, peace and relaxed feeling, that like sort of at peace feeling that you get when you watch somebody that you care about sleep. I think Pearl enjoys that feeling, doesn't understand how to sleep herself, and just kind of uses that as like an unwinding, de-stressing sort of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Also probably does not understand that it's creepy.
Yeah. Also, I wrote it a little later, but I think I probably thought it around this time, but the art for Inside Lion's Mane is so beautiful.
Yeah, Inside Lion's Mane is real fucking pretty. I wrote it here too, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. So the next dream I wrote down. Again, why the fuck am I like this? I wrote down Dogcopter is the Sonic Fox of checkers. I don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, that feels like a statement that could easily be argued to be true.
Do I have to make a bumper sticker of this saying now, too?
I feel like we say a lot of things like that on this show, but I don't know if you need to make that. God damn it. I meant to get that bumper sticker from you.
Shit. Well, we couldn't have done that anyways. I wouldn't have been able to meet up with you guys.
Yeah. So I wrote that, I wrote about Dogcopter's voice is kind of odd to me, given, like, I expected Dogcopter not to ever speak. So just any voice, I guess, would have been very jarring to me here. But also, he gave really good advice. Like, I feel like that's, sometimes this show actually does just, like, say stuff, like, say a message out loud instead of trying to be coy about it. And usually when it does, it's fairly decent. At least so far.
So the voice actor they have in for Dogcopter is also, apparently he also voiced Lonely Blade in the Lonely Blade movie, and then also Lonely Blade's brother, and also the evil janitor.
Oh my god.
The voice actor's name is Chris Jai Alex. I'm gonna see if he's been anything that I know. It looks like it because he's got a fucking YouTube video about him. Let's see, what has he been? He apparently was a bunch of voices in. He was Panthro in the Thundercats Roar video or show. Blah. He is additional voices in Last of Us Part 2. He's somebody named George in She-Ra. Is Koch, Kotch from Final Fantasy VII ring a bell?
No.
Okay.
But I'm only a few hours into the remake anyway, so...
Nothing's jumping out at me. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's just like additional voices in fucking everything, it would seem.
Like the low rent Matthew Mercer.
Mm-hmm. He's somebody named Fisher Ness in Gundam Thunderbolt Bandit Flower.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'll get to that in a billion years. He's Bear in Titanfall 2. I don't even remember who Bear is.
I do not either.
Oh, he's Sandoval Routers in Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. I know that character. He's Fisher. He's Fisher Ness, period, in Gundam Thunderbolt, it would seem, because he's got a number of Gundam Thunderbolt. Anyways, fuck this. Why am I doing this?
No.
Anyways, you gotta stop me, August.
I mean, sometimes it's just interesting to see how far down the rabbit hole goes. So
Yeah.
the adorable trap is very good.
It's so good. I like how Steven, that is like a perfect pet interaction of like, this is so cute until your pet hurts and you're like, okay, it's not cute anymore. I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
I wrote, I guess lion is a TARDIS, I guess.
Yeah.
Not untrue. The
Lions.
music inside of Lion's Mane is fucking great.
The music for this whole show is so good.
It's true. Art, music, story. This is a good ass show. It has some issues, but overall, I would say this is a good ass show.
Oh yeah.
So every one of those items that are on the little island inside of Lion's Mane, we're going to find out about every one of those items except for one. And let me tell you, that one that we don't find out about, the fandom loses their fucking minds about because no one ever they never confirm what's going on with it.
Ah, shit. I remember the shirt, the flag, the tape. What else was there?
There's a gem floating in a bubble.
Okay.
And then a treasure chest.
Huh.
Oh, there's also a picture of Rose and Greg, but we've already seen that picture. It's the same picture Greg has of Rose and Greg.
So I know there is a character named Bismuth, and that looked like bismuth in there. So is that where bismuth comes from?
Yeah, that's bismuth. It's that big chunk of bismuth is bismuth.
Okay. Yeah. I just know that there can be multiples of a gem, like there are multiple pearls, so I didn't know if that was the bismuth that we see later or if that's just a bismuth.
Yeah, no, that is the titular bismuth.
Okay.
Yep.
I can't wait to be gay for her.
You will be, don't worry. So the video, I have one when they switch. I like that they keep the VHS filter through the entire video section, except I really wish they would have kept the 4:3 aspect ratio of like a tube television.
Yeah.
I think that would have really helped sell that, but I get why they went to 4:9.
Mm-hmm.
So tiny quibble.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about our first real introduction to rose quartz? Like the actual rose quartz, not some facsimile of her.
Okay. So, first of all, Pearl trying to get one of the other gems to watch over Steven because he said no is still creepy.
It's true.
Why does Steven not have a VCR? I could have sworn we saw Steven with a VCR.
He does. That's an interesting... I wonder why because I don't think it has to do with Steven not having a VCR. I think it has to do with Steven not wanting to watch this in front of the gems.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Though I do wonder why. Is it because it's his mom and he knows that this is a sensitive subject for them? Or
is it one of those things where everybody knows so much about his mom, but he doesn't know anything, so this is something that he can have for himself and not have to share?
That might be it. That might be a good... That's a point I did not think about. Because, Steven, we've never shown Steven even understands the concept of hiding things from the gems.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he does, but, he doesn't feel the need to,
Yeah. I feel like these two episodes, this one and Warp Tour, kind of show how he's kind of in some ways bucking against the gems and their not their power over him, but this is him starting to get into a rebellious teenager phase, and frankly I'm not sure I can fault him here.
Right, exactly. It's interesting, yeah, because this is... I don't necessarily know if it's maybe the best choice to not tell the gems about this. It has some ramifications later on. But I can understand, not wanting to, though. Like, that point you made is really good. Like, having this thing that is of Rose, but for him, some piece of information. I mean, it says on the video for Steven, you know?
Yeah.
Greg is going to blow. Okay, so this is Greg when, like, right before Steven is born. Keep this image of Greg in your fucking head, because soon we're going to be watching an episode called Story for Steven, and compare that version of Greg to the Greg that we see in Story for Steven. It's going to blow your fucking mind.
Oh, boy. I thought, okay, so, like, I thought the video was incredibly cute. I got emotional because Rose clearly loves Greg so much, because there are any number of things that she could have chosen to record, and she chose to record him in moments that to an outsider are just, like, potentially deeply unattractive. Like, he's just, like, fucking lying there half under an umbrella in the sand with a fucking seagull on him. Like, but Rose thought that was worth keeping, and worth keeping for Steven.
Right.
Like, she loves that man a lot. And it's really, really cute. Like, I liked that aspect of it. But some of the way that Rose talks to Steven about, like, what he is a little weird and off-putting. And I don't know if that's, like, intentional on the part of the Crooniverse or not. But, like, talking about how, like, she's going to be half of him, and whenever he loves himself, that's her. Like, in what seems to be a material way is really, I find it really off-putting and creepy.
I think the approach that the Crooniverse was trying to come at this with this is because, like, you don't make a video for your kid if you're going to be there, you know?
Yeah.
This is the sort of video that you make for a kid when you have a terminal disease and you're not going to see them.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, the phrasing.
I mean, it's true. I mean, it's kind of technically true. She is literally part of him. Though I think this is her trying to reassure him, or reassure him that of her love for him, in the same way that, like, if you're because she knows that she's never, that, you know, it's kind of like trying to reassure your kid that you're never gonna meet, that you loved them very much, you know? Like, I am going to, you know, very realistically, like, you know, for as all the purposes of the story, Rose is dead.
Yeah. Like,
Rose died in childbirth, as it were. And she knew that she was going to, is also the very key point of this. Everybody knew what was going to happen to Rose when this happened. We actually had, I forgot about Discord. Oh no. I'm gonna finish this point, and then I'm gonna come back around to Discord. Sorry, Discord. We've been on a roll. As you can tell, we're fucking on one today.
Much like Steven, we're just having a normal one.
Just a normal one. But yeah, to me, this feels like the videos you leave when you have a terminal disease. You know, you're not going to see, like, live to see your child, like, or live to see your child old enough that they form memories. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the language comes off kind of weird, because the Crooniverse has to speak with that language that they've already established in lore. So I think that might be where the friction is.
Yeah, just because it comes across as more literal than it necessarily was meant to be.
Yeah. I think it's the friction of the lore, like, rubbing up against the thing they're trying, the kind of the metaphor they're working with here.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Though it does, I mean, honestly, as you know, because we both have future knowledge of what who Rose Quartz is, you know. Obviously, far more complicated character than this depiction here. But I like how at this point in the show, they are setting up Rose Quartz in your mind the same way Rose Quartz is in everybody's mind. Like all of the rest of the crystal gems in Greg, you know? Like they're building this like this idea of this idealized version of this person, and as the series goes on and we learn more about her and learn that she's much more complicated and much more flawed than this presentation of her, I think it's very interesting that they set her up to make her more complicated in the same way that they did that with literally every character in this show so far.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Discord real quick.
Yeah.
And talk. I'm sorry, Discord.
I was going to suggest, do we want to go ahead and finish and then circle back around to the Discord questions? Because we also had some stuff from Watermelon Steven too. So we might as well.
Yeah, we'll just do it at the end. Yeah. That's probably how we're going to do it from now on, frankly, because this is like the third time we've done this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steven touches Lars' stomach. He does the thing. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you know how he touches the little thing that he misinterpreted, like the Lars high five or whatever thing.
Oh, where he just like gently bapped Lars's titty.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, he does that at the end of this episode. They're leaving the break room.
Aw, cute.
Yeah. Can't wait to meet Sadie's mom.
We get to meet Sadie's mom?
Yeah, we do.
Oh boy.
Barb. She's pretty cool.
Okay.
I like Barb. All right. Do we have anything more about Lion 3?
I do not.
Okay. Let's move on to episode 36, Warp Tour. This one was written by Raven Mollesy and Paul Velico. Vilico? Vileco.
Yeah, that sounds in the ballpark to me.
Steven thinks that he sees something creepy traversing the warp streams, and the gems try to ease his paranoia. That first half, very true. That second half, I don't know about.
100% not.
Yeah, that is
one of them demonstrably does not.
This is decidedly a 50-50 episode synopsis. Honestly, better hit rate than the last one, though.
Yeah.
The gems are warping back home from a mission in the Flower Meadow. That's apparently the actual name of this episode, or this area that they're in. Pearl and Amethyst are exchanging compliments with each other. When Steven emerges from the flowers, he's apparently very allergic to the flowers, and he's just having a fucking bad time. While they are warping back to the temple, Steven sneezes really hard, and he gets pushed out of the warp tunnel, where he sees basically kind of like space. He sees the space that the warp tunnels travel through, whatever kind of, what is it called? Z-space in fucking Animorphs? Shout out to Danielle.
Z-space.
And while he's out there, he thinks that he sees something. We know that he sees like some kind of like dark thing traveling through one of the warp tunnels. He tells the gems about this, but they're like, Steven, that can't be true. Nothing on Earth can use these warp tunnels but us. That night, Steven's still pretty paranoid about the thing that he saw in the warp tunnel when he is startled by Amethyst, who is in the fridge eating just the cheese dust from the macaroni. Just the cheese dust. Steven's like, I can't sleep, and Amethyst is like, why? Are you scared of the like terrible warp monster that's gonna come and fucking eat you? And Steven's sheepishly from behind his blankets. No. She's like, okay, well, whatever. I'm going to bed. Have a fucking good night, because I'm not great at this shit. Steven, still scared that something's going to come into the house and attack him, goes down and posts up next to the warp pad with a water gun. He's like, I'm not going to sleep all night. And eventually he falls asleep. In the morning, Pearl wakes up Steven, but he's startled and sprays her in the face. Garnet's like, well, he's like, I'm sorry. And Garnet's like, I guess you're not getting cookies. I don't know why she makes the decision he's not getting cookies. It doesn't matter because Amethyst immediately eats all of the cookies. That's what was going to happen no matter what, frankly. Whether Steven got those cookies or not. He says that he didn't sleep all night. Pearl tries to like kind of hammer into Steven like nothing can use the warps but us, and Garnet's like, listen, if Steven's feeling bad about it, let's just go and check all the warps. They sort of we get like kind of a montage of all of the greatest hits of Steven Universe so far. We go to the Sky Spire, we go to the Geode, we go to the Flower Meadow. We don't go to the Strawberry Field, which is weird. But finally, while they're at the Sky Spire, Steven or Pearl is like, listen, nothing can use the warps but us. And Steven's like, you're wrong. And Pearl gets kind of incensed. She's like, nothing on Earth can use these, Steven. Steven's like, well, what if it came from space? And Pearl's like, fuck. That's probably true, but I don't like your tone. So they go to the Galaxy Warp, where Pearl's kind of a fucking shithead this whole time. At this exact point, she starts being a real shithead. Chastising Steven, showing him that the warp pad is broken, that it couldn't possibly be, couldn't be possibly working. And Steven's like, fine, okay, whatever. Yeah, the warp pads are broken. It can possibly be coming from off planet. And then the gyms kind of start talking about Steven while Steven's there. Steven gets very upset about this. And he and Pearl get into like an argument, like a real fucking for real argument. Amethyst is like, holy shit, this has never happened before. Steven is starts yelling at Pearl, and Garnet steps in. He's like, she's like, hey, cool down to him. That night, Steven is sitting at the house, glaring at the warp pad. It says in this description that he's eating dry macaroni. He is not eating dry macaroni like some kind of fucking sociopath. He's eating macaroni and nothing. That doesn't imply that it's dry, synopsis writer. Amethyst is like, okay, well, whatever. Whenever you like get out of this funk, like call me. And Steven's finally is like, what am I doing? This is bullshit. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I'm getting over this. And then immediately a weird green orb crashed through the ceiling. And Steven has a little bit of a mental breakdown.
I can't imagine why.
I know, right? He starts kind of wrestling with this orb, calling for Amethyst. In the fight with the orb, they crack the warp pad, but the orb heals the warp pad. And Steven's like, huh, weird. And it goes to warp away, and Steven jumps on it and warps away with it. While in warp, a whole bunch of other green orbs appear, and they push Steven fully out of the warp tunnel. He's in space as he is dying slowly in space. He laments to himself that like he finally figured it out, but now he's gonna die a sad, lonely, sad sack. About that time, a warp tunnel appears behind him, and he's scooped up by Garnet into a warp tunnel. Garnet apologizes for not believing him. They head to the Galaxy Warp, where all of the they're flask robinoids are their actual name, the little green balls. They heal the central warp. And somebody warps in. It's Peridot. This is our first introduction to fucking Peridot. They're trying to ascertain like what's Peridot's deal. Steven for a moment thinks that the robinoids are her babies, and then Peridot fucking just crushes one. Peridot is doing a log, but then discovers the Crying Breakfast Friends sticker. She is afraid that the place has been compromised, so she fucking scuttles all of her robinoids and then warps back. Pearl has a full fucking freak out, as does Amethyst, and also so does Garnet, but Garnet just channels all of her feelings into violence. And she's like, we're not going, like, they're not coming fucking back. Fuck this shit. And she like crushes the Galaxy Warp. Everybody is very scared. Star wipe, the end.
Except it's a cut to black, isn't it?
Yeah, I just say that at the end of every synopsis.
That's fair.
It's my thing. I don't know how to end a synopsis without it.
My first note is Aw, Amethyst and Pearl getting along.
I know, that was mine, right? My initial one as well. It's like, it's nice to see this evolution. Like, I like time progresses in Steven Universe, and I know that's like a weird fucking thing to say, but like, it's interesting to see as like things and characters and people evolve.
I wonder how in danger Steven must have been.
Who knows? He probably just curled up on the ground, dying.
Yeah.
Like me every fucking spring.
Yeah, I do like seeing Steven be just generally allergic to flowers. Like, it's not like an earth-shattering allergy that can be used against him in a deadly fashion necessarily. It's just something that's very mundane, but it's also nice to see this very mundane thing just kind of laying him low a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Like, Steven is... Because I don't think we ever see Steven, like, sick.
Mm-hmm.
This actually becomes a plot point in Steven Universe Future. But he does apparently have allergies, which is fair. You know, that's not the same thing. But it's, yeah, I like how... I did not know the name of the inside of your elbow until Pearl said it, frankly.
Yeah, and I don't remember it. It has left my mind, but yeah.
Yeah, good job, Pearl, knowing that, but not the word elbow for some reason.
Yeah.
The art, holy shit, the art. like the fucking warp complex or whatever. So good. I took a screenshot of it. I might make it my computer's wallpaper.
Yeah, it's...
I knew it.
Yeah, it's really good. What I want to know
SpaghettiOs.
is why did Garnet not believe Steven when she has future vision?
Well, I guess it's one of those, like, they kind of explain it at some point that, like, Garnet doesn't see the future. She sees a series of possible futures. Like, she sees time in all of its complexities laid out before her. So she just kind of has to pick a stream to get into, you know?
Okay.
So that sort of explains away the...
Yeah, so she just chose not to see the future in which Steven was... or she chose not to accept the possible future where Steven was being truthful or was being correct.
Yeah, I don't think that they think that he's lying. I just don't think that they think that he's right.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like the way that they talk about, like, especially when Pearl was, like, trying to get him to say that he believed her about there being nothing wrong and he didn't see anything.
Let's get to that, because that's what we're going to be talking about here. So let's blaze through the other couple of things also, because I'm having internet issues and we just need to get there.
Yeah.
So my next couple of notes are Amethyst is a millennial icon when she was eating just the fucking macaroni cheese.
I loved her just like big gremlin energy this episode.
True. She had like the biggest fucking big sibling vibes in this particular episode.
Oh yeah. It's like the complete opposite of the Sadie sibling vibes.
And I know it's like before Pearl starts getting real bad, but honestly, I found like the expression and how excited Pearl was that they had made him cookies and the like little tapping on his head. That was really fucking adorable, actually.
It really was. But yeah, I want to know why they don't believe him because, well, okay. The reason that they don't believe him is because they don't want to believe him because everybody has PTSD, et cetera, but like, I feel deeply uncomfortable with the way that they doubt Steven, and I feel deeply uncomfortable with the way that the show treats that. Because this is something where if a child is telling an adult something important and potentially dangerous. Like, seeing the ways in which, like, the adults just kind of, like, basically tell you you're wrong about this thing is just, like, it's upsetting to me on a personal level in a similar way to Connie's mom was upsetting to me on a personal level. So
I think in this sense, we are butting against the Jims don't want to believe him, because if they do believe him, that means that Homeworld's coming back, and Pearl and Garnet can't deal with that.
Yeah.
So they're choosing not to believe him. And I think that's honestly what's kind of fueling part of, like, Pearl's kind of visceral reaction to this is, like, her own worry, her own, like, how scared she is of this idea that the Homeworld is coming back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't excuse what Pearl does, but I think it gives context to it, because, like, that's a real, like, for Pearl and for Garnet specifically, like, that's a real fucked up thing to, like, have to, like, all of a sudden be contending with all over again, you know?
Yeah,
like, they lost
especially given
literally all of their friends.
Yeah, especially given, like, it's implied that while this happened a long time ago in human years, in Jim years, it's probably not been that long since everything shook out. So,
yeah. And it's been like 10,000 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means to Jims, but also, you know, they seem to they process things in a very different way.
Yeah.
I think it's butting up against that, but I think it's also these are feelings and frustrations that kids will, in fact, I think different from Connie's situation, where I feel like it was sort of tone deaf. I think they know what they're doing here this time around, and they're intentionally trying to, like, build that frustration, because these are legitimate frustrations that their target audience is going to encounter, of adults not believing them when they're in fact telling the truth.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that I don't think the Jims think that Steven's lying. They just think that he's wrong. And that is you know, adults do that to kids. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And kids are going to experience that. And I think what the show is trying to tell them at this point is, like, even if they're not believing you, stick to your guns. Don't acquiesce. Like, you are right. If you are right, you are right. Like,
I don't know. I guess there's just the part of me that would love to live in the fantasy world where if a kid tells an adult something important and possibly life-threatening, the adult believes them.
That's true. I think that also the showrunners would probably also want to live in that world, but they're trying to, like, you know, if you're making a show for kids, you have a responsibility to sort of, like, lessen them up a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you got to kind of show them, if you're going to use this show as a teaching tool, you also need to, you know, teaching them about, like, de-escalation and, like a non-violent, like, approach to the world is cool, but also you've got to teach them some life lessons too.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what's going on here. Because this feels like a natural progression of, like, an actual arguments and frustrations that a child would have with their parents, especially once the argument with Pearl starts happening.
Yeah,
because that feels like the most like, that is the most, like, paternal, like, realistic paternal conflict I think we've seen in the show. Because, like,
with Pearl, yeah,
with Pearl,
with Pearl, yeah.
with Pearl, because, like, Pearl is in the wrong. The show at no point in time is ever like, oh, Pearl is right?
Yeah.
And I do like that, again, they take the time that the Jims do apologize to. Well, Garnet apologizes to him. I assume the other Jims apologize to him as well. They just kind of, like, we've got X amount of runtime. We've got an important thing to get to at the end of the episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, it would have been a little more impactful if Pearl had been the one to apologize. But yeah, I mean, it is good that at least Garnet, as the leader, is like, yeah, I should have taken you seriously.
Right. And I think that's where it's coming from. I think this is, like, like, they're trying to show sort of the perfect storm of, like, the Jims' fear and their lack of being able to cope with that fear. And like Steven, like knowing in his heart that he's right about a thing and not wanting to let it go. Also this growing like sense of, because like the argument doesn't happen, it isn't really because like they don't believe him, it's because they think they know what's best for Steven, and Steven is bucking against that.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting turn for that argument. Not that, oh, you guys never believe me. It's like, stop talking about me like I'm not here, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a really, I find that very, like, very interesting. Especially, like, this is a maturation of Steven. He's not the fun little kid from the beginning of this series. He's definitely, like, he is growing and maturing as the series is going along.
Yes, 100%.
Are we want to move on to the next bullet point?
Well, I mean, basically, most of my bullet points until Peridot gets here are about, like, what the fuck? Listen to Steven. Poor Steven.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Pearl?
Mine was my next note after basically, like, my kind of like bullet points for that sort of point that I made is Macaroni and Nothing is a good band name.
Yeah.
Also, they're like, I applaud them for like heavily implying that Steven will die, and he says the word die.
Mm-hmm.
So show got dark real quick.
Yeah.
In a fucking hurry. They're like, well, Steven will die. This is also not the only time we are afraid Steven will die in space.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually worse
Fun.
next time, so get ready for that.
Well, this is our second time that we're afraid Steven will die in space.
He's not been to oh, right. No, I'll die alone in space. Let me caveat that.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like,
okay.
So how do you feel about Peridot showing up?
I am very interested in Peridot. I know that, like, she's a gremlin, and a different gremlin than Amethyst.
Weird that she, like, I love the introduction, how Peridot begins and how Peridot ends are so radically different from one another.
Yeah.
Because you've probably seen images of late game Peridot.
Yes, I have.
And she shows up legitimately pretty scary.
Yes. I really enjoyed the touch of, like, her crushing the little robo dude. The flask.
Seems like, oh, they're her babies crushed.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Greg did crush one of Steven's babies, so, you know, it's fine. This is perfectly normal human behavior, right? Yeah,
I actually wrote in my notes
babies.
exactly like babies.
And then my final note is something that we already touched on, so it's not a big deal.
What was it?
So, oh boy, PTSD Central up in here.
It's true. I like that, like, Pearl just immediately has, like, a breakdown. Like, oh, Homeworld. Well, I mean, Pearl and Garnet are both having breakdowns. They just process their breakdown differently.
Pearl is having a legitimate panic attack.
I mean, also Amethyst is, too, because it's complete unknown, but, like, it's something she's only ever heard about, how fucking horrible this thing is, you know?
Yeah.
Garnet getting the big fist. She's over 10, like, she gained, 10 points of power with that punch?
Yeah.
So.
Well, is it 10 points or is it 20? Because she did it double-handed.
Oh, it's true. So yeah, Homeworld's coming. We are beginning the trek towards the season finale.
Nice.
All right,
We've only got 20 more episodes.
Yeah. That's actually only 6 more. That's only 6/7 more episodes for us. So that's not that many, really, if you think about it.
No. Discord.
Okay, so Will asked about Watermelon Steven. What does it mean for Steven that he created an entire pseudo-army of sentient people? How childish or appropriate was his final treatment of the Watermelon Stevens? we will find out. I will say right now, we will find out what it means that Steven created this sort of race of people on the Earth. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to it next season, I believe. 90% sure it's next season. We're going to come back to it.
I feel like the reaction was as appropriate a reaction as they could put in a show aimed at its target demographic without, like, actually coming to terms with what just happened.
Right. Like, this is a show that is not going to devote an episode to the ethics of creating life.
Yeah.
You know, that's not really what this show is about. But they're going to use that. They're going to use that as like a tool to tell a bigger story, which is what Steven Universe uses its setting to do, period. It's not a show about sci-fi stuff. It's just a show with sci-fi elements that's about, you know, these big emotional things.
Yeah.
How childish or appropriate is Steven's final treatment of the watermelons? Actually, don't, like, for Steven, in context, I feel like it's very mature, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is also, like we said, kind of core to Steven. Like, Steven, fundamentally, we have seen him over and over again. Steven does not think violence is the answer to a problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, in this, Steven tries to talk everybody down. Steven wasn't going to make that move. Baby Melon made a sacrifice play. Pour one out again. Sorry, I'm sad about Baby Melon all over again.
Baby Melon is sad.
It's very sad. But I think Steven reacted I honestly, I think the comment at the end, like, Steven, like, I'm not king. Like, that also sets up Steven. Steven wants what's best for the people around him. He doesn't want to, like, be over those people, you know? Steven doesn't want to be the leader of the team, but he is the leader of the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shannon here. Watermelon Steven is pretty fucked up. TBH. Does this episode show how the gems are in general feel about their powers? So far, it doesn't seem that they have much thought or compassion about other life forms. Is Steven serving as a bridge to form that compassion? Was that Rose's plan, do you think?
Yeah, I think we touched on some of that with it, and as far as, like, how the gems feel about their powers, but I definitely do feel like Steven is serving as a bridge to form that compassion, because we demonstrably see the gems doing things like, you know, having picnics with members of the community that they wouldn't have done so previously if it weren't for Steven.
Right.
They agree to go meet Connie's parents because of Steven. And I don't know if they're at all in a position right now where they would choose to do things for the community of their own accord, but I can see them potentially setting up for that.
Yeah, I think eventually we get there. I don't think it's Rose's plan, though. I think Rose legitimately just wanted to kind of, like, we're going to find out, especially with, like, further about, like, Rose's motivations and the way she feels about Earth. I don't think she intended for Steven to have a grand destiny, but unfortunately he ended up with one, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of her fault that he did end up with one, but I don't feel like it was her intention. But we'll re-examine that as we go along. Shannon asked if Rose told Greg that she would cease to be. Everybody knew that Rose would, because we're gonna see later, like, a little bit of a flashback. Pearl was very upset about, like, we see a moment, like, right after Rose sort of tells Pearl that she's not going to, like, she will cease to be, like, and Pearl's very upset about it. So. Mm-hmm. Also,
now, is this something that they knew? And I mean, do we find out if this is something that Rose knew before getting pregnant, or is this something that she discovered after she and Greg already decided to have a baby?
I don't remember, but I think she knew before getting pregnant.
Okay, because
we never go into the
plays
logistics of
into...
it, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. The reason I ask is because of Shannon's other thing, which has a content warning for suicide about whether, or, sorry, let me, because of the fact that Rose chose to die and the trauma that inflicted on her loved ones is pretty astonishing, yet kind of soft-pedaled because it's a kid's show. Do you think that casts her video to Steven in a different light? And I mean, like, if she did know before that she got pregnant, yeah, it's kind of fucked up all around. If she didn't know, then I think that you could easily still go with the same reading as like a terminally ill patient kind of thing. But yeah,
to be perfectly honest, I don't know, and I don't think that we ever get into it in the show. Like, if she knew before she got pregnant or not. I don't know. She was very gung-ho about having Steven, though. Like, she was very dead set on having Steven, so.
Okay.
Elijah says, Warped Tour to me is one of the saddest episodes, what with the Gems just straight up not believing Steven and seeing what that does to him. Less a question about the episode, more of y'all. What's the saddest episode in your opinion? Oh, I thought this said scariest episode when I read it the first time. Saddest episode. Oh, I thought it said scary. I was like, cat fingers. It's always cat. It's gonna always be cat fingers.
Not Frybo?
No, I hate cat fingers way more because it's body horror.
Okay.
Also, it reminds me of like it reminds me viscerally of the end of fucking Akira. So, because obviously that's what they're doing. But yeah, what's your saddest episode? I think so far, honestly, I would say like Lion.
Monster Buddies for me. Either Monster Buddies or Island Adventure.
Honestly, I kind of I like the quiet like the kind of quiet, deep sadness that's going on inside of Lion 3. Like this, like Steven, so Steven has this sort of like the Steven trying to process this loss that he never even lost. Actually, no. Rewind. It's Rose's what's the title of the episode where Amethyst gets a crack? Indirect Kiss. Where Steven laments like not even knowing how to be like sad that he doesn't even get to be sad in the same way everybody else is sad.
Yeah.
We have more. We should rank our saddest episodes at the end of every season.
Yeah. So is this like saddest, like objectively, or like made you feel the saddest?
I'm gonna say made you
because
feel
like
the
saddest.
Because like
yeah, saddest objectively, yes, Lion 3, but made me feel the saddest, definitely Monster Buddies. Because of who I am as a person.
Sure. I can't wait for Centipedal to come back.
Centipedal comes back?
Yeah, multiple times. Everybody comes to nothing. I almost called you Garnet. I don't know why. August, we're gonna come back to a lot of shit. Like they're gonna keep that scar on Sadie's character model for the rest of the show.
Okay.
That's the kind of show we're working with. So yeah, we don't leave plot threads hanging. Hell, they casually mention gems that we're gonna meet like 5 years from now. So it's gonna be pretty
okay.
fun. All right. Do we have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take it to the close. When you're listening to this episode, this weekend on our Twitch, Standing Stones Prod on Twitch, I'll try and get a link in the episode description for this episode for it. We're going to be raising money for Fight Fair. It's a Fair Fight. Sorry, I always get it backwards. I'm sorry. Fair Fight is a direct action organization in. Are they a direct action organization?
They're a grassroots organization that does a lot of different things. They were founded in Georgia by Stacey Abrams, the person who should have been Georgia's governor. And it promotes a lot of things like helping people register to vote, helping get voters to physical polling locations, working to fight laws that disenfranchise voters, working to fight actions that disenfranchise voters.
They do a lot of work against voter suppression in its many forms.
Yes.
And as you might be aware, there is a fucking runoff election in Georgia. And I don't, obviously, the people who, I mean, if you listen to the last episode, you know who the people August and I are deep down. But, I don't try and get real hardcore about politics on here because that's not really the show. But yes, we voted an awful fascistic piece of garbage out of the White House. And normally, I would not put much faith in electoral politics. I have as much gripes about the Democratic Party. Okay, I have different gripes about the Democratic Party by comparison to the Republican Party. But I would rather. I would rather drink that poison and survive. And if we don't flip the Senate, we will not be able to even begin to apply pressure to the Democratic Party to make a material change. Without them being able to make any kind of changes, we cannot pressure them to do fuck or all. And it is imperative that that the Senate gets flipped for anything to happen in the next 2 to 4 years. We have a lot of fucking damage to repair, and not just from Donald Trump, but from years and years and years of the U.S. government in general, and we cannot even remotely begin to do that without flipping the Senate. And now is the best time to be able to do that. If we can do that, I feel like we can apply actual legitimate political pressure. People have been geared and shown what direct action can do. That direct action can get the goods. And if we apply that same pressure to the Democrats, who have a much weaker fucking spine, frankly, we can actually maybe get something done in this country. So please come join our stream. We're going to play some great games. We've got some great guests. We've got Jeff Stormer, Katie from Off the Table. If you've seen our other shows, our other live streams, we've got Brandon. We've got Riley, Riley Hopkins at Rev like Reverend Rye, and I was just going to keep going.
Oh my god.
And then we also have Cam from Old Gods of Appalachia, the 9th most popular fiction podcast on fucking Spotify, which is wild that we actually have a real, like a real pseudo-celebrity. So yeah, join us, donate, do what you can. This election is very important. I feel like it's not getting the hype that it needs to because it's in the South and people have written off the South for a long fucking time. But goddamn it, Georgia won this fucking election for you motherfuckers, so show the fuck up for it.
Yeah. If nothing else, you'll get to, if we flip the Senate, we'll get to put Mitch McConnell out of a job, and that's pretty cool.
Fuck that old turtle man. Fuck him into the ground. Get the watermelons to bury Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
But no flowers. He doesn't fucking deserve them.
Correct.
So yeah, hit us up. So the link will be in the description below for that. Also look at the Twitter. It's at stones_standing for the podcasting guild. Check out, the room where it happened. At this point, you know what our other fucking shows are, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Find me on Twitter. I'm at RoomWarePod. August.
I'm on Twitter at Harpydora.
Listen to Equestria Gaze. Do it. They do a good job over there. Also, listen to Escafil Files. Don't tell Danielle. Danielle, stop listening. I'm not listening to Escafil Files, not because I don't want to listen to our friend's show, but because I am willfully trying to divorce myself from knowledge of Animorphs so it doesn't affect me. And I feel bad because I really want to listen to the show.
Yeah, same. I want to continue to go into this blindly.
Yeah, I feel like it's the best way from a creative standpoint because we have enough people with knowledge of Animorphs and enough people without knowledge that I feel like we won't get lured into trying to recreate canon.
Or metagaming.
Yes, exactly. The only meta knowledge I have is derived explicitly from weird Google image searches I've done.
Yeah.
So, next week we are going to be watching episodes 37, 38, and 39 alone together. Stevani is finally here, y'all. The test, which actually might replace your saddest episode, frankly. The test is a fucking tearjerker. And then Future Vision, where we actually get to learn about Garnet's future vision in canon, the thing that we've been talking about. That is, I feel like it's heavily implied in canon that Garnet can see the future.
Yeah.
So, until next time, is it my turn this time?
I think it's your turn this time.
Until next time, be like Cookie Cat and leave your family behind. Peace.